Hey footy fans, Jake here from Jake's Opinion. It's that time of the week again where I give you my match previews. Two big matches this week, two big prelim finals. It's Collingwood up against Sydney tonight at ANZ and tomorrow it's Hawthorn against Adelaide, so let's get straight into it. First of the big prelim finals is Sydney up against Collingwood at ANZ Stadium at 7:50 tonight. Last time they met was in round 20 at that ground where Collingwood left victorious again against Sydney away, 70-78, with Travis Cloke kicking 3 goals and Dale Thomas having a blinder as well. Their recent history against Collingwood isn't that great. They've lost the past 7, I think it is. I think that it's about time that they win it. They haven't been in this good of form in a very long time playing this Collingwood team who is struggling a fair bit, let's say. They weren't that convincing against West Coast. They got the job done. It was very emotional week. Same as this week. That might get them over the line again tonight. I don't think it will, but I'll tell you that a bit further on. Let's get into the key players. First of the key players is Adam Goodes for Sydney. This guy right here. He's a freak. He can play in defence, he can play in the midfield, he can go in the right, he can go forward, he can play small, he can play tall. So really I think he's the one player that they've got to knuckle down on. If anyone watched the game that Sydney played against Adelaide in the first week, the first qualifying final, they won it because of Adam Goodes. I know Adelaide missed a lot of shots, but Adam Goodes just had a blinder of a game. I think he kicked 3 goals, or 3 before half-time, and he just got them on a roll and really catapulted them into the position they are today. So if Collingwood can't control him, then he brings a lot of other players into the game and gives them that X-factor up forward, which they don't really have otherwise, apart from Jeddah. Then if they can stop that, Collingwood, then I think they'll win, but if they don't, then it could be a really close game. My next key player is Dane Swan. I did it last week, and I think I did it the first week possibly. Dane Swan is this week's key player for me for Collingwood. It all starts from the centre, and that's one thing that's going to be a really pivotal battle tonight between the teams. If Sydney win the midfield clearances, then they're going to pump the ball onto the likes of Adam Goodes, Reid, Jeddah, and it's going to cause Collingwood's defence a lot of problems. But if it goes the other way, and Collingwood get it out of the middle with Swan and with Thomas and Wellingham and Beams and all those really great players, then it's going to cause Sydney a lot of problems where they've got to deal with Cloke, they've got to deal with Dawes if he does play, and a few other smalls here and there. Cracker's back into it, so it gives a bit more variety with Cracker there, a bit more unpredictability at ground level, whereas in previous weeks, if Cloke didn't mark it or if Dawes didn't mark it, that was it, and then the ball would just be taken out. But with Cracker there, he's got that forward pressure as well, the tackling pressure that will hold the ball inside 50. They didn't play too long ago, so not much has changed since. I think the week off at Sydney may hold them a bit of an advantage, and Collingwood's travelling too. So even though they have won there the past 6-7 times, there's that travel, they've had that tough game against West Coast, Sydney have had a week to just rest up and prepare and watch Collingwood play West Coast. So they've got an extra week of planning as well, which is going to be a big advantage. So what I think is going to happen, I think it's going to be a tight game. Last time, Collingwood got the late couple of goals that just snuck them over the line. I think it's going to be the other way around this time. Sydney are going to get the couple of late goals and just hold on, and then put them into their first grand final since 2006. So that's what I think for that game. I'm going to tip Sydney by 9 points. The next game is Hawthorn v Adelaide, which is at 5:15 at the MCG tomorrow. Last time these two teams met was in round 3 at the same ground, the MCG, which is a very long time ago. So I wouldn't look into it too much, but I'll give it to you guys anyway. It was Hawthorn, big winners, 140-84. It's a bit of a smashing. Hopefully it doesn't end up like that tomorrow. No one wants to see a blowout, especially in a prelim final. You expect them to be really tight. Everyone says though that basically harder to win than the grand final. It's just harder to get there. Once you're there, you can kind of relax. You've made it, and it's okay. But just the pressure of getting to the grand final is what's really going to make these games so electric. My key player for Hawthorn is obviously going to be Lance Franklin. You can't not put it as Lance Franklin. He's the barometer, like Swan is for Collingwood. If he's on and he's kicking goals, they're just going to dominate. If he kicks a couple of early goals, I reckon the game's over right there. Adelaide have really got to double team him every time that the ball's in the air. To, maybe a couple of cheap shots in the belly, who knows, Start a few fights with him. Get him to react. Get into his mind. I mean, Collingwood tried to do that in the first fight. Didn't really work, but maybe Adelaide have got a different way of going about it. Because just hoping that your defender is just going to beat him is, that's not going to happen. He's too good for that. You've got to do other things. You've got to double team. You've got to work as a team to stop one player. That's amazing. That is how good he can be. And how good he has been for most of this year. So they've got to watch him. For Adelaide, though, I think the captain, Scott Thompson, is the key factor for them. When he gets on a roll and he gets the clearances, because he's a great clearance player, then they're usually getting a lot of inside 50s. Walker's taking a lot of marks, who wasn't far from being the key player again this week after his great performance last week, basically winning them the game. He's just very clean, he's very calm, he's one of those players that you want the ball to be in the hands of in these big games. So he'll get the ball, he'll lower his eyes, and he'll just pinpoint a player. Some players you'll see in these next two games are going to crack. That's what these finals do, they break you or they make you. So a lot of players are going to stand up like Taylor Walker did last week and deliver, and other players are just going to freak out because of the pressure and not handle it. But Scott Thompson isn't one of those players. He's going to handle it, he's going to calm the team down, especially when there's a lot of young players in there. He's just going to tell them, guys, just play our game and see how it goes. But I don't think that's going to be enough, unfortunately. I think Hawthorn are going to win, and they're going to win very easily. I don't think it's going to be the same margin as last time. It's going to be less than that. So I'm going to tip Hawthorn by 27 points. So that's it, guys, for my Week 3 Finals preview. Hope you enjoyed it. Like the video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel just above here. Comment below. Tell me who you think's going to win and who you're tipping for the Grand Final. Obviously, I'm seeing Hawthorn v Sydney play, and I'm going to tip Hawthorn for the Premiership. So that's it for me. Again, thanks for all the support and all the views and likes and comments and subscribers. It's been amazing. I'll hopefully plan a good video for you guys next week, the Grand Final video, and I'll see you guys then. Have a good weekend.